Welcome to Pursuit of Truth. Just a quick one. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, featuring Nick Knowles and Anne Haggerty from The Chase. Nick Knowles from DIY SOS. They had a conversation about whether the moon landing was true or not, which a few years ago I don't think that would have got on television. Now these things are getting on mainstream popular programmes, but it still was interesting how Nick Knowles, who is a favourite to win the show, who's come across as like the leader of them, he's the one questioning whether man ever went to the moon. And it's interesting that it's Anne Haggerty from The Chase, who is the one defending it, being the authority, as it were. And it's reinforced through the programme as well, with people not believing Nick. So if you watch this, and even the anchors of the programme, and Declan Donnelly, he reaffirms it to make sure that you're under no illusion that what you should be believing. So it was interesting exercise of how to reinforce the authority. But Nick Knowles came across really well. And I must admit, there was one thing that Anne Haggerty said about, she explained the shadow that I'd never heard before, and I did check it up afterwards, and there are people that do claim that. Whether that's true, I don't know. And it's interesting that, because I was listening to Darren Nesbitt's conference, the UFO conference. I'll put it in the companion of the Pursuit of Truth. And he was actually the person I listened to at the beginning. You remember, I always talk about this guy that I listened to. He wasn't Scottish, he was from the north, and he had a big beard. And yeah, I remember listening to one of his things about flat Earth, and that's what made me think, oh, okay, these are some interesting points. On the UFO one, he talks about, because he's talking to a UFO conference, he talks about the moon landing. So, yeah, but the problem is when people debunk these things, and even people who, tell the official stories, as it were, they never take into consideration all these other factors and try and explain everything to meet their confirmation bias. Anyway, let's hear Nick Knowles and Anne Haggerty on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
I'm a Celebrity. Welcome back to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The vote is still open, so get behind your favourites to make sure they stay and count.
Thanks, Holly. Okay. Now, when you're talking about a list of mankind's greatest achievements, there are some obvious examples that spring to mind. The discovery of penicillin.
Yeah, the invention of powered flight.
Spanx for men.
What?
What?
And of course, who could dispute the importance of the moon landing?
Who could? Who could? I'll give you a clue. 2 words. The second one's Knowles.
What percentage of the British public, when asked, believe that we've landed on the moon?
Well, the British didn't land on the moon.
We, humans.
No one's landed on the moon.
Humans, yeah, they have.
No, we haven't.
Oh, that's bollocks. Nick's got one of those voices that you believe everything he says, but I don't know if I believe that we didn't go to the moon.
The Russians were tracking it all the way to the moon. If it hadn't gone to the moon, the Russians would have said so.
One of the major difficulties is around the outside of the Earth is there's something called the Van
Allen belts.
Van Allen
yeah,
belt.
Van Allen belts.
The Van Allen belt, which is massively radioactive.
Yeah.
And the argument is that you would actually have to build the spacecraft out of lead in order to protect the astronauts from the Van Allen belt.
Except if you're going through it quite fast, it need not have that massive an effect.
What about the other question? On their chest, they wore the cameras which they took the photographs with on the moon. It was a chest-mounted camera, in which was Kodak film. Now, as you know, on the moon, because there's no atmosphere... And
do you mean like no vibe or no atmosphere?
No vibe. Yeah, there's no vibe on the moon.
That's what I thought for a split second when you said that.
You know, there's no atmosphere. Yeah.
Like, there's no atmosphere. The atmosphere is dead up here.
Dead up here. Let's go back.
Shit up here.
No, I mean atmosphere. There's no atmosphere. In direct sunlight, it's something like 200 degrees. The Kodak film has an operational range of about 130 degrees. And yet, amazingly, that film all worked. Plus, in the moon landing photographs of the Apollo landing craft, it appears to be lit from 2 sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can explain that.
because you're getting sunlight, and then you're getting the sunlight bouncing back from the Earth. You're getting the Earth's albedo.
Go on, Anne.
If the whole thing was fake, what do you think happened to Apollo 1?
Is that the one that blew up?
That was the one that caught fire on the launch pad.
On the launch pad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Right, but I mean, if they were never actually going to go, then...
The reason was that the Russians had already got into orbit and circulated the Earth inside the Van Allen belt.
Yeah.
And had... So the only way that they could top it was to go to the moon and back.
Yeah.
So
you think they were genuinely
when
trying...
they discovered they couldn't, the only way to do it was to fake it.
And do you think John Glenn and all those guys would have kept it a secret their entire lives?
Oh, the conspiracy theories of people not actually landing on the moon. I think it's bollocks. I think we have landed on the bloody moon.
Well, the lesson there, never argue with Anne Hegarty.
It's pointless. You'll never win because she is basically like Google for the celebrities down there. If you want to know something, ask Anne. Think of a question, Anne will have the answer. Just spit out a question now.
Okay. Anne, who was the 34th President of the United States?
Eisenhower.
There you go.
Good.
Watch this one, watch this. Anne, what's on ITV at 9 o'clock tomorrow night?
I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
She knows it.
Love
she
it.
knows everything.
So there you go, that's reinforced. The interesting thing is they used Emily Attack as the reinforcer at the end of Nick Knowles' debate, as it were. And she was the one who didn't know the proper use of the word atmosphere when he was talking about the moon. So I thought that was interesting. It doesn't really add credibility to it, just because she says it's bollocks, but she's giggling away. Now the interesting thing is that I wanted to put at the end was an admission from where she gets her information from, as it were. Because I just thought it was interesting, this bit.
Thai.
Mexico.
Its largest province is named after the smallest dog, Chihuahua.
How do you know these things? Very clever lady.
I told you I'm sad. I'm a sad person with no life.
That is not...
My life is sitting indoors at a computer, reading about things, not actually outdoors experiencing these things.
Yeah, but with
I'm
the
sort of
board...
the anti-Nick. Except he reads all the stuff as well. He reads a ton of books and then he actually goes out and experiences.
He doesn't believe any of it.
Well, no, he does. I may still need to convince him we did go to the moon.
Yeah, we saw that.
But, he believes in evolution. Some don't.
Some of the people have said this, were quite bored in
Yeah, so that's interesting, yeah. So they made fun of it one final time. But the interesting thing about it is that she learned her information from books, from reading stuff. I mean, technically that's where we all get stuff from, but she didn't really think about using her discernment when it came to looking at the moon landing. All she did was repeat back or regurgitate back the stuff that she'd learnt. Now, admittedly, Nick may have got his information from YouTube or whatever, but that's because it's an analysis of the subject, and I'm not trying to sound like confirmation bias, but it's easy to get fooled where you just read something and you just repeat it back and you believe it just because it's written down and just because it's printed by NASA or in schools. But yeah, some of these questions, like he was pointing out, need to be... My understanding also of the Van Allen belt was that it was a protection. That's where the radiation from the sun it stops at getting through to the Earth. And so this idea of passing through it fast, I don't know whether that's true or not. I mean, because I would have thought that I thought that the belt is the once you get past that, then you start getting the full radiation of the sun. So even once you get past that, and you'd be more closer to the sun, you'd get more of the radiation from it. That would be the problem. So going through it fast, I don't know whether that's a true answer. Plus, that seems like a cop-out answer to sort of make out that, if you Speedy Gonzales, then it's okay. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it to you. It shows that these things are now getting on mainstream programmes. And, that's it. Take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.